Other than Metatron?
If you could bring anyone back.
Oh, if I could bring anyone back. Metatron, probably. Or is that cheating? You want another one, right? Charlie. That would be mine.
That's kind of.
Go ahead. Hi.
Hi.
Tell us what we want to hear.
On King of the Nerds, were there any really like funny or really strange moments that happened off camera or that didn't make the cut?
Oh, boy. Yeah, a lot of them. But I couldn't possibly pick them out. In fact, I was saying this the other night. I don't know if you remember Katie Carell, who was the robot specialist who was in season 2. Yeah. She was here. She came to visit. She lives down here in Florida now, and so she came to visit yesterday. We went out to dinner last night. And we were talking about it, and she went through some pretty hairy stuff on the show, and everybody does, it gets all dramatic and all that. But then they all wind up being friends, which is weird. And so she was talking about stuff, and I was saying I would give anything to have all that footage, all the footage that didn't make it, because there was so much that didn't make it, and recut the whole thing. Just edit my own version, the executive producer's edition of King of the Nerds, so you could see all that other stuff. Because the truth is, we never cared that much about the challenges. I mean, some of them were better than others. They had to be there. We needed them to get people out of the house and so on. But the truth is, we could have just kept those cameras running on them in Nerdvana 24 hours a day, and boy did we get some interesting stuff, and some which we could not use. Yeah. But it was just such. I mean, they're so brilliant and they're so funny and weird and they were just full of interesting stuff. So, I mean, obviously there was a lot. You would go through the week with a lot of funny things happen, but mainly it was just realizing that there's a ton of material no one will ever see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Big fan. I am very excited to meet you. It's a very surreal experience to get to talk with you.
Thank you.
Now, as an actor, I know that you have had many wants for your character, but probably not all of them have come to fruition. I mean,
any what for my character?
Any wish fulfillment.
Oh, wish fulfillment.
Yeah, well, different things you wanted for your character. So, is there anything, like, I know you've been Booger and Snot and Double Wide, a lot of wonderful voice acting.
Double Wide.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Double Wide.
I would love to hear you in all the shows I watch, but is there anything that you wanted for a character, such as Metatron, that you wanted but it didn't go that way?
Yes, and this is a weird answer, and it actually has to do with Booger, with Revenge of the Nerds, because this is all coming out. I'm going to give my own plug on this, because I'm writing a memoir, which is going to be published next year. Yeah. I'm calling it "Wouldn't It Be Nerdy?"
That's a good title.
Yeah, it's a good title. I just actually. That's really good. I'm not kidding. I guess I had this. I had this title for it. I sold the book on the title A Nerd's Progress, because it's the story of me as a boy nerd growing up in Detroit and then becoming famous as a nerd in film, and then ending with King of the Nerds. That's how I sold the book originally. And just last week, my editor wrote me and said, Nerd's Progress isn't going. We can't do Nerd's Progress. You have to come up with another title. And so since then, I'm going, what do you call it? What do you call it? We'll see. But anyway, the thing about the the character wish fulfillment thing was, as I've been going through all of the diaries and the notebooks and the scripts and the letters that I've kept over the years, I found a lot of stuff relating to Revenge of the Nerds and to Booger. And I realized two things about Booger, which I didn't realize until literally 2 years ago. One of them was that I wrote out a biography for Booger, which is what you do as an actor, right? You write out biographies for your characters so you know who you're playing. So I wrote out, and I found my biography for Booger. It's me. I was thinking I hated Booger so deeply on the page. I just hated that I was doing it. And so I wanted to change it so that it would be like acting, this big part that would have nothing to do with me. And now I look at it and I go, that's just me. I was kidding myself. But what I wanted for the character was to cut everything, including his name. This is all written down in my diary, my notes for the writers. I want to cut his name. I want to cut the belching contest. I mean, what was I thinking? And I remember having conversations with the director and the writers because they were very welcoming to ideas. I said, this is not who the guy is. No belching contest, no nose picking. No, his name isn't Booger, it's something else. And ultimately they kind of went, with all of that, who is he? He doesn't, panty raids, he doesn't pick his nose, he doesn't belch. Who is he? And I had no answer. And so I wound up getting one wish on my list that they would accept, which was, they had me popping a pimple. And I said, give me the pimple at least. Just throw away the pimple. I'll belch, I'll pick my nose, I'll be disgusting, I'll say these horrible things, but don't make me pimple. Or pimple bobble. And they went, okay. So then, of course, I look at the role and I go, I must have been out of my mind. Did that answer your question?
Wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fantastic pieces.
Sorry.
Following belching and boogers and pimples is going to be kind of a tough act, but I'll do my best.
Tell me about it. I've been trying to do that my whole career.
Thank you again for coming out today. Really appreciate it. My question is going to go back to the early 80s. So think of Risky Business, right, and Better Off Dead. Did you draw anything from Marcus Dalby to Charles DeMar, and was it just the weirdest experience making Better Off Dead? Because every time I see it.
Well, no, I didn't, but Savage Steve did. And the truth is, Risky Business is what my entire film career is based on. Even though it's not really that character all the way through, what happened with Risky Business was that came out. It was kind of popular, but it was not a huge blockbuster, but a lot of film people loved it because of the way it was shot and the score and all that. And so the director of Revenge of the Nerds, Jeff Canoe, had seen it. He wanted me in it because he saw me in Risky Business. That's why I got Nerds. Savage Steve had seen Risky Business. He also liked Revenge of the Nerds. He went, I interviewed him for the book, and he went, and I'm in the theater, and I'm watching Revenge of the Nerds, and it's okay, but then I see you, and I'm thinking, this guy's in both of these movies. I have to get him in my movie. If I get him in my movie, it'll be perfect. I don't have to do anything, which was a slight exaggeration because he actually did have to still make the movie. But that was those two. Then then there were a couple of other movies that nobody remembers or wants to. And then at the end of the decade was Moonlighting. And Glenn Caron, who wrote it and created it, he was the executive producer of it, he wanted to bring in an actor with Ms. DePesto to play off of Ms. DePesto, because he had Bruce and Sybil and wanted another one to come in. And he had seen Risky Business and went, the what the fuck guy? He might be the one to bring in. And so, but before he would do that, I had to come in and read. I read. He then called the producer of Risky Business and said, just tell me that he's not a jerk. It's the only thing that I got my hands full here. I don't need someone who's going to be a problem. And fortunately, I behaved myself on Risky Business. So those jobs, Revenge of the Nerds, Better Off Dead, Moonlighting, all direct line to Risky Business.
Awesome, thank you very much.